We've been talking about the Ten Commandments. In today's video, we're going to talk about Daniel and what he has to say about the Ten Commandments and Bible prophecy. You may have not noticed this before, but in Daniel 7, it talks about the law, and that somebody's going to try to change the times and the law. Let's look into this a little bit more and see what it says. When you open the book of Daniel and study it, you soon realize that there are a lot of Bible prophecy that are recorded in this book. And if you go to chapter 2, you find the story of Nebuchadnezzar and his dream. And where he had this dream but couldn't remember it, and it really bothered him. So he asked his wise men to interpret it and recall it for him. But they couldn't do it. And so he ordered the death of all his wise men. Now Daniel was considered part of this group, and when he found out about it, he asked for more time so he could pray to the God of heaven and to see if the dream would be revealed to him as well as the interpretation. And it was. And so he goes to Nebuchadnezzar and relays this information to him. In this dream, he saw this image with a head of gold, a chest of silver, a belly of brass, legs of iron, and feet of iron and clay. And then this rock was cut out of the mountain and fell on this statue and destroyed it. Now the interpretation of this dream really is, at that time, was a prophecy of the history of the world yet to come. And Daniel told Babylon that he was the head of gold of the statue, that him and his kingdom was represented by the head of gold, and that these other metals in this image were inferior kingdoms that would follow. Now, one thing you need to understand about the book of Daniel and the prophecies therein, all these prophecies revolve around the same theme and same information. They all are predicting the future of the history of the world. Who would come into control, what kings and kingdoms, and the end results would be Christ coming again and setting up a kingdom which would be of no end. When we look at the chapter in Daniel, chapter 7, we see these four beasts rise out of the sea. And these four beasts are a lion, a bear, a leopard, and this nondescript beast. And again, these are representative of the kingdoms that were in this story in Daniel 2 of the statue, of the dream that Nebuchadnezzar had. And as we look at Daniel, we see the lion represents Babylon. If you look into history at the Ishtar Gate of Babylon, you see images of lions on the wall. The bear represents Medo-Persia, which was the kingdom that came after Babylon, and we find this in Daniel chapter 5, when Cyrus attacked the city of Babylon and overtook it, and he was the head of the Medo-Persia kingdom. Then if we look at Daniel 8, we see that in this vision there's a ram and a goat, and the ram represents Medo-Persia, and the goat, which attacks and overcomes the ram, is Greece. And then the next kingdom is the Roman Empire. And so we see these four kingdoms in the image of gold and silver and brass and iron. And here in Daniel 7, in these images of animals, with Babylon being the lion, Medo-Persia being the bear, the leopard being Greece, and this nondescript beast being the Roman Empire. Now we see that this fourth beast, the nondescript beast, has 10 horns. And amongst these 10 horns comes up a little horn that has eyes like a man and a mouth speaking great things. And this little horn uproots 3 of the horns of this beast. And we can see in this picture the horns, 3 horns lying down on the ground. As you continue to look at this prophecy in the book of Daniel, chapter 7, you'll see that this little horn will think to change times and laws. Now, when you think of laws in terms of the Bible, you think of the 10 Commandments. And when you think of the 10 Commandments, there's only one law in the 10 Commandments that has to do with time. And that's the 4th commandment. It has to do with time because it says to remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy, which is the 7th day. And so here in this prophecy in Daniel chapter 7, we have this little horn that comes up and thinks to change times and laws, attempts to change the law of God. Now, who is this little horn? And are they really able to do this? Well, in order to find out more about this, we need to look further into the book of Daniel, chapter 7, to see what the characteristics are of this little horn and see if that will help us identify who that is. We're going to start by looking at the book of Daniel 7, starting with verse 16. I came near unto one of them that stood by, and asked him the truth of all this. So he told me and made me known the interpretation of the things. These great beasts, which are 4 kings which shall arise out of the earth. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. Then I would know the truth of the 4th beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceedingly dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass, which devoured, brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes, and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. And I beheld that the same horn made war with the saints, and prevailed against them, until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High. And the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. Verse 23. Thus he said, the 4th beast shall be the 4th kingdom upon the earth, which shall be diverse from all the other kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it into pieces. Verse 24. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall arise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time, and times, and the dividing of time. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion, to consume and to destroy it unto the end. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him. So what is the characteristics of this little horn? If we look at Daniel 7, verse 23, it says that the 4th kingdom upon the earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it and break it in pieces. And we know that this 4th beast, or this 4th kingdom, is the Roman Empire. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise. And another shall arise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. So we know that this little horn that speaks great things against the Most High comes out of among these 10 horns, and actually subdues 3 of these 10 horns. And he speaks great words against the Most High. He wears out the saints of the Most High, and he thinks to change times and laws. And they shall be given into his hand until a time, and times, and the dividing of times. Now these are the characteristics of this little horn. that involves the thinking to change times and laws, thinks to change the law of God, specifically the fourth commandment. Now we're going to, in the next video, delve into these characteristics a little bit more by going to the book of Revelation, where we can find the same prophecy spoken in the book of Revelation. But until that next video, I want you to think about these characteristics and see if you can figure out what they mean and how they help identify this little horn that thinks to change the law of God. May God continue to bless you as you study His Word.